Evolutionary podcast coming away, episode 431, Q&A episode. Stevesmi here, and Rickster. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
Hey,
Ricky
what's up,
B.
Steve?
Yep.
What's up, Steve? What's up, guys? How's everybody doing out there?
4 great topics coming away. Let's get started. The first one we're going to talk about is a critique my cycle question that came in. He's running 400 milligrams of testosterone cypionate, 40 milligrams per day of Turinabol 2-bol. He's 27 years old, 5'10", and 13% body fat.
Critique my cycle is one of the favorite threads for guys to post up on the forums, on the steroid forums, and notice. Critique my cycle, guys.
It's always a good idea to come and get a bunch of opinions. You come and you post a thread like this, you're gonna get a lot of opinions. You're not gonna have people jumping down your throat like some other forums. Some people get a creamy sense of satisfaction from bullying people and being assholes to people, but we don't do that on Evo. There's no such thing as a bad question. And that question that you ask, other people also can come on, read those questions, as dumb as you think they are, and it will also help countless other people as well. So really, you're doing everybody a favor by putting up a thread like this where you're asking questions. So we don't allow people to go in there and hammer you. We're trying to help you. We're trying to help each other. We're trying to network. So I think it's a great question. First off, 27 years old, you're a little on the young side. You're basically, the first thing I'm going to tell you is don't run a long cycle, because what happens is you're in your 20s. You start running long cycles in your late 20s. By the time you're in your late 30s, you're done. Your HPTA is going to be fried. So I would keep the cycle at 10 weeks. And don't tell me, hey, I can't get results at 10 weeks. Of course you can. 10 weeks is plenty. 10 weeks is plenty. That's 2.5 months plus the ester, the cypionate ester. So add another 4 or 5 weeks to it. So we're talking over 3 months where you're on hormones. So don't tell me you can't get good gains being on over 3 months. So you're only 27, protect your HPTA. And our next compound episode, Rick, is going to be talking about post-cycle therapy, how important it is to protect your HPTA. So you guys can check that out as well as the next episode. But back to this topic, testosterone cypionate is an ester of testosterone. The half-life is about, 10, 11 days. It's not really important. It's about between 10 to 12 days, okay? It's a very common testosterone, is very smooth injection. So 400 milligrams a week, that's fine for a cycle. Some guys go a little bit higher. Some guys might even go a little lower, down to 350. And then Turinabol, a nice dry steroid. It's an oral. So you're going to be taking it per day. Now, would I go T-bol for 10 weeks? No, I would tell you go 5 or 6 weeks with the T-bol. Either to start the cycle off as a kickstart, which would be my preference, or you can end it with the T-bol. So those are your options. And I would say with your stats being 5'10", 13% body fat, I think you'll get some good results on it. Make sure you train smart, but you train hard, and make sure you have your diet on point. And then you'll get really, really good results on the cycle. Make sure you have all your ancillaries on hand, which we're going to be doing a compound episode, which would be episode 434, which is going to be an ancillary episode where we talk about the ancillaries you should be running on cycle. So we got you covered. We got you covered on this podcast. Unlike any other podcast out there, we got you covered. So Rick, I'm going to bring you in here. Give us your thoughts on this. Again, keep in mind, he's only 27 years old. He's not that big of a guy, 5'10", 13% body fat. What would you do in this situation?
I think it's a great looking little cycle, man. I like testosterone. I think it's a great cycle to go with. I like Turinabol. Like the fact that he decided to go with Turinabol instead of a bunch of Dianabol and then throwing Aromacin on top of it. I think it's a great little cycle. How's your diet? How's your training? 400 milligrams of testosterone is already more than your body will make naturally, and 40 milligrams a day of Turinabol is already more combined that your body will make naturally. So you're definitely going to get some faster results. What should diet and training look like? At that point, that's what's really important. So 13% body fat, not too bad. uh, at all to use steroids. I mean, like I've said here before, during just a regular year, I'll hover between 8 to 12, 14% body fat myself. So it's fine. If he was 23% body fat, I'd say, listen, man, you need to go drop some of that fucking body fat before you start on these steroids. But the fact that he is, he's fine. I mean, I think it's a nice cycle. I don't have a lot to add to this one. Keep some anti-estrogens on hand in case you need them. Use N2Slin, my product, and the number 2 Slin, SLIN.com. Go to N2Slin.com. Use N2Slin with your cycle, and then use my HC Generate product for a PCT. Now we call it N2 Generate, of course. So go to hcgenerate.com. Use that for PCT or just during, and should have a great cycle, man. Why not? Keep it rocking. As far as age, height, like I said, dude looks good. 27 years old. It's not too young for steroids. 27 years old. I think if most guys waited until about 27 years old to run their first cycle and just straight natty from their late teens over to 27, that's you would have by then exceeded your genetic potential. What your genes will be able to do for you, and then just throwing the sauce on top of it, you're going to get some nice permanent gains that it'll be real easy to keep. So nice little cycle, good age, good body fat percentage, not too high. I think it's fine, man. Just diet and training, kill it with that.
Next one, I'm gonna bring you in. This guy's still having low estrogen issues. Let's pop this one up here. 3 weeks after stopping Aromacin while on 250 milligrams of testosterone per week. So he's got low estrogen, and I guess he got blood work done. Let's make that assumption. And what do you do in this situation? It's been 3 weeks after you stop taking that estrogen blocker, and you still have low estrogen. What's your thoughts on this one?
My thoughts is what we've said here before. Anytime you fuck with your endocrine system, you're gonna have issues. You're gonna have problems, and you might still need additional follow-up time. Now, the low estrogen problem is not very common. It's not very common for guys to have low estrogen while they're still injecting testosterone, while they're still injecting steroids. There's been other compounds that have been used in human trials to see if we could find something to replace testosterone. And the reason none of these have cut the mustard yet, the reason none of these have worked for us yet, is because they don't create enough good estrogens. So if I finish my whole cycle and then weeks and weeks later I'm suffering from low estrogen side effects, I haven't ran into that problem, but if I personally did, I'd probably start on I would probably start off with with blood tests to see where my normal testosterone levels are. And if my normal testosterone levels are chances are that they're low. It's a very good chance that if you have low estrogen, you also have low testosterone levels. Maybe throw a little bit of testosterone into your system at that point, along with a PCT protocol as well, to make sure that you're not fully suppressed, and see if your body makes some estrogen. It's just a little homegrown way to try to finagle to deal with it and see what happens. But this is not a very common problem that I've seen around. If anything, sometimes guys, their estrogen will bounce back, and then you have high estrogen, especially guys that go on hard anti-estrogen, something like Femara. You might see an issue with it later on, but just a tiny dose of weekly testosterone, just a little bit, just to see if it comes up. And I definitely run something like Clomid even, or like HC Generate along with that little bit of testing, just to see if your estrogen normalizes, and then you'd want to try to come off and just give it a chance. But if you put yourself in a situation where after your cycle, after everything, you got low testosterone, low estrogen, and you can't do much to kick it back up. You could try, if you have low estrogen, you could also try HCG. HCG has been known to raise your estrogen along with your testosterone. Maybe you can pump in a small dosing of HCG every other day, and that might also yield some results. There's a couple of different tricks you can go around, kind of kickstarting your production normally. But at the end of the day, there's a very good chance that if you fucked with your endocrine system and your testosterone continues to stay low, you might have pushed yourself into needing testosterone replacement therapy earlier than you would have. Maybe you would have needed it anyway as you got older, but this 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 cycles you did cost you now to really need it. And you might run yourself into that situation. What do you think, Steve?
Pump up the jam, pump it up. Remember that song? It was big in the 80s. Back in your day?
Yeah, I remember. Back in the day, those songs with the soul singing female in front of some drums. Those were in style back in the day. Remember that? Yeah.
It was back in your day.
You remember Feel the Vibrations. Feel it.
Oh, that's Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch.
That's another one. But remember it had the high pitched female kind of soul voice singing in the background. Those were really popular back in the day.
You're almost as big as Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Marky Mark, that guy sucks. Remember that from the movie Airheads?
Mark Wahlberg. He kind of gets embarrassed when they bring up he used to be Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. He likes everything about his career except having been Marky Mark or the Funky Bunch one.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, his brother was also in a boy band.
Maybe.
Yeah, one of the big ones says I can't remember which one it was, but he's one of the big ones. One of the ones my little sister used to like, I think, back when I was younger.
Oh, okay. So yeah. When you have a little sister, I guess that makes sense. I was gonna say you're into boy bands. All right. So with the estrogen, here's the telltale signs when you have low estrogen. So, and you guys, a lot of you guys are new to the game and stuff, and a lot of you have been around in a while. And whether you're new or you've been around a while, you may not realize it, but low estrogen is a bad thing. High estrogen is a bad thing, and low estrogen is a bad thing. You want it balanced. So if you got low estrogen, one of the telltale signs could be your mood, could be you're feeling depressed, could be your joints hurt. So libido issues. And at the end of the day, when you slam your estrogen too low, that's what happens. So the only reason this guy even knows this is because he ran blood work. But there's tons of people out there who are using aromatase inhibitors on cycle and they're slamming their estrogen too low. There's tons that aren't running it properly and their estrogen is too high. But the only thing that separates them is people are too lazy to run blood work. So if you come on the forum, check out my signature. I've got a link on how to run blood work. It's very important to check on this every now and then just to make sure everything's right. Maybe your AI is bunk. Maybe your AI is too overdosed. Maybe you're running too much of a dosage. Could be different factors. So at the end of the day, this guy is doing the absolute right thing. He's recognizing something's wrong. He's coming on the forum. He's asking the question. And this is the correct thing to do. We want to see people do that. So my advice is keep running the testosterone and just stop the aromasin and give it another week or two. Things will rebound back. You'll be okay. So everything's going to be okay, buddy. No reason to panic. Next one we're going to talk about is how long to take off in between cycles. So the cliche answer on the forums that we've seen over the years is like something like time on equal time off. That's you see what I'm saying? Meaning time on 12 weeks equals time off 12 weeks. So take, if you're doing a 12-week cycle, you take 12 weeks off, then you go back on cycle for 12 weeks and you take 12 weeks off back and forth. The problem with that theory, though, the problem is you're not counting for the esters. So if you count for the esters, that 12-week cycle is really 18 or 20 weeks because that's how long it takes the steroids even to leave your system. So that's a problem because you're shut down the entire time. Even there's a low amount of the hormones in your system that is still going to cause you to be shut down. So you have to run your steroid cycle with the idea that you got to run your post-cycle therapy, and then you got to take enough time off when you count the esters. So in other words, if you're doing a 12-week cycle, it's going to be in your system for 18 weeks, for example. Then you run a 6-week PCT. I would definitely come off for 18 weeks because that gives your HPTA time to recover. Now, if you don't give your HPTA time to recover, your pituitary glands are the brain of your reproductive system. If you don't give it a chance to fully recover, let's say it's on the road to recovery and it's producing a little bit more LH, a little bit more FSH slowly, and then you start throwing hormones back at it, that's a problem. Because then you're shutting yourself right back down. And then you run another cycle, you do the exact same thing, you're shutting yourself back down. So that's the problem. And you're never going to recover that way. So I recommend, if you're going to follow one of these time on, time off things, do time on plus the esters, however long it takes them to clear your system. If you're doing long esters, you want to add like 6 or 7 weeks. If you're doing short esters, you want to add like 3 weeks. And then you add that to your time off, and just to make sure. And then you really need to run blood work. I'm sorry to say, you have to run blood work to confirm that you've recovered. Because if you don't recover fully and you keep going back on cycle, what's going to end up happening is you're going to burn out your pituitary glands, and you're going to need to go on TRT for the rest of your life. And a lot of these geniuses on the forums, they're all experts, they're all gurus on PCT, yet they're all on TRT. That's the hypocrisy of it all. And we have a lot of hypocrisy in the fitness industry. I see it all the time. It drives me crazy, but we see it all the time. It's dishonesty and it's hypocrisy. And it's not right that they are giving advice that is going to make you have to go on TRT in your 30s because they fucked up and they're on TRT in their 30s. So if you want to protect your HPTA, I'm giving you the bad news right now, guys. I'm giving you the bad news. You have to come off for time on plus the esters. So if you're doing a 12-week cycle with long esters, you're going to have to come off for 19 weeks. 19 weeks is how long you have to come off. That's the bad news. From the point of where the esters are out of your system, not from their last injection, from the point where the esters are out of your system. That's a long time, and a lot of guys aren't willing to do that, and that's why they're on TRT in their 30s and even in their 20s in some situations. What's your thoughts on this?
How long you taking between cycles has a lot to do with your experience, what you're trying to accomplish, how much risk you're willing to take. All these things need to be taken into account. I think for most guys out there, most guys that I talk to, your goals are not crazy. You're not looking to walk around looking like Mr. Olympia just to go to work. Most guys say they want to look like Brad Pitt in Fight Club. They want to just have some good muscle tone and be pretty lean. Expectations beyond that just aren't that huge. In order for guys to really be doing these crazy kind of cycles that I see a lot of people talk about doing. So there's no reason to really stay on too long. Me personally, and I like to always use kind of my own experience in my own life as an example. It's a couple of little short cycles, 8 to 12 weeks. If I did an 8-week cycle and a 12-week cycle, we're talking about 20 weeks on steroids, and the year's got 52 weeks. So not quite half, but close to almost maybe half of the year on the sauce. It's kind of all you're ever going to need. And there's times when I've just taken off from steroids for a year or two completely. how long to stay on, how good do you want to look, and are you really strict with your diet, with your training, and what needs to get you there? I mean, it's different for everyone. But what Steve is suggesting is I agree that the longer and the more time you spend on these drugs, the harder you make it for your body to bounce back and be fine, be natural again. That's how it is. I mean, the longer you stay on them, the longer you do these drugs, the harder time you're going to have getting off of this stuff once you want to get off of this stuff. So don't overdo it. Don't stay on the drugs too long. If you're already a high level competition guy, you know, or mid tier, or even just bottom tier, trying to get up there competition guy, and you're already holding to a ton of mass, it's a good chance you might have to stay on year round, even if you just take a little bit, put yourself on your own kind of TRT, because you're holding on to some mass that's way more than your body could hold on to naturally. And as soon as you get off the sauces, everything is going to melt right off for you. Melt right off, no matter how crazy you try to stay in the gym. And that's when you reach a certain kind of threshold of mass that your body would just never hold on to naturally. Then you just got to kind of stay on. But there's a point. There's a point where you can use the steroids to gain more mass than you naturally would. But once you recover your natural testosterone production, you can come off the steroids and maintain most of that mass. Maintain it. That's only 15, 20, maybe 30 pounds over what your body could have achieved naturally with 5-8 years of natural training and proper dieting. With the steroids can get you an extra 10 to 30 pounds, depending on your size to begin with, of permanent mass that you'll be able to hold on to with your natural testosterone production. Once you start going above that number, 40, 50, 60 pounds, 70 pounds of huge, it's big muscle mass that you're holding on to, you kind of have to sort of stay on something all the time. If you try to come off of it, I mean, unless you got incredible, amazing genetics, you start to try to come off your steroids, mass is going to start melting away. Even if you eat properly, even if you train hard, the mass will just start melting away. You could maybe get on some supplements, some herbals, some stuff to help you boost testosterone production naturally, some stuff to help curb catabolic hormones. You could do some natural over-the-counter things to help. But really, once you get above a certain amount of musculature, unnatural musculature that you gained, you'll have to kind of stay on for a while. So back to the core of the question, how long to take in between cycles? Just like do a year, man. Do one little short cycle of gain some mass, to gain more mass than you could have that year naturally. And then do another little short cycle before the season where you're going to have less clothing on, and do a little cutting cycle, so you have some great pictures at the beach and great pictures at some of these summer trips. Run a couple of those per year. This is old school. This is not a new idea. This is going back to like early 2000s. Guys would do a nice bulking cycle and then another cutting cycle every year, and you'd be kind of done. The bulking cycle would help you gain more than the maybe 5-10 pounds you naturally would gain in a year. You gain more than that. And then you get the cutting cycle to help you stay looking lean and looking hard for some good pictures. So don't overdo it. Don't do too much, and just remember what your goals are and what you're trying to achieve here. Some guys are happy and willing to just be on TRT in their late 20s, early 30s. They're fine. They're fine. They like it. They don't feel good when they come off the steroids, even though their normal testosterone levels are in an acceptable normal range. They don't want to settle for normal testosterone. They want to be just a tick or two above natural, and they'll stay on all year. Those are the blasting cruise guys and all these different new ways of calling their cycles. But at the end of the day, you really want to take as much time off. You don't want to put yourself on TRT. You want to make sure to come off, give your testicles time to to make their own testosterone, stimulate them with the herbals, hcgenerate.com. I keep pushing it. And that's kind of that's the way that I'm still doing it. 40 years old. I haven't put myself on TRT yet. Still have incredible libido and testosterone levels, even when I come off the steroids, just using my herbals and, every little trick that I can to keep my natural production up. I think that's the ideal way, man, to not be on the synthetics, not have these synthetic drugs floating around your system, all year long. Coming off of them, making sure your body can sustain and can keep going with it. I mean, that's just my opinion on it, man. That's what I got.
The next one we're going to talk about, guys, is going to be, I'm going to bring you in on this one as well, Rick, using steroid SARMs with your spouse. So touch on this for a little bit. I'll give you the floor for like 5 minutes, and then I'll chime in and we'll finish up the show.
I mean, I've done it. Does this. I've dated girls, and we grab some VAR together and split it. We grab a bunch of VAR, a bunch of Winnie. I've had girls use some of my leftover gears from my cycle. I did a short Anavar cycle. Go to anavarbook.com, anavarbook.com. That's going to be released very soon. Join that group. When you go to anavarbook.com, it'll forward you to the group. Join it, because you're going to have a chance to get the book soon. And I did that cycle, and I had some bar left over. And my girl my girl at the time took it from me. Just said, "Hey, I'm taking these." So it's common if you date a fitness person for that to maybe go on and happen. Now, you shouldn't try to get some regular girl on steroids. You shouldn't be the dude that's like the gateway for some person to do drugs they've never done before. I don't really much agree with that. In any drug, you don't want to be the first one to be there when that girl smokes pot. You don't want to be the first. You don't really want to bring people into kind of these worlds where they're a little bit dark, and you've made some choices to be there, like the steroid world. You've become a criminal to be in it. You don't want to do that. That's just my opinion. I think it's one thing if the girl's already doing it, is already on the grind. I've had girls that are not using drugs, but they are kind of fitness grind, and they want to ask me about Jews and what about steroids and what Anavar and Winstrol this and that. And you know what? I just say, look, don't do it, baby. Just here's some bridge. Here's a bridge and then 2 Slin stack from my store. Try that. Bridge into Slin stack. It's natural. Some herbs in it. You're gonna feel great, and you're gonna make great progress. And let's talk about this diet and training. And I'll try to get people that have never used the steroids to not use them, to not take the jump, because I think the majority of people out there using steroids probably don't need to be, not to look the way they look, to be honest with you, not to look the way they look. I think a lot of people try to make up for bad habits in their eating and bad habits in their training by adding steroids. And if they just got their diet and training straightened out, they'd look amazing and wouldn't have to take all these steroids. So that's just my opinion on it. I don't like to be the first one to bring someone in, but if she's already in the game, if she's been doing it before she met me, if she has plans to continue to do it while we're together, and she's going to continue to use the sauce when her and I part ways, chances are we're probably going to share some bottles of some stuff and maybe give each other our shots. That's just what's going to happen. So it's just my opinion on it. So I'm all you guys out there on your fitness grind, taking some juice. Your wife, your girlfriend becomes a little bit interested in fitness. Don't fucking give her any drugs. Just don't do it. Okay? Go grab some N2Slin, some Bridge from my store. Bridge is another great product for females, incredible product for females to make good progress and building muscle mass. Go grab some Bridge and N2Slin stack. Let her have that. And it's not going to be as is negatively impacting on her body as Anavar or something crazy like that. And you're keeping her from becoming a criminal. You know, you don't know. She might go and try to get some Anavar from someone on her own. She'll get screwed as far as products she's getting. She might get pulled over one day and have the bottles in plain sight of her purse and get arrested. I mean, you just don't know the variables with opening the gateway for a female into this dark underground world that we deal with these drugs that we buy from illegally. So don't be the gateway for anyone in your life to do any of that. Try to avoid it and try to talk them out of it as much as you can. And that's it. That's all I have to say, man. What you got?
Yeah, real quick, I take a different perspective. I mean, I get this concept of people wanting. I think maybe you took the question a little differently than what the person on the forum was asking. I think what he was probably getting at, he wants to run a cycle with his girlfriend, like run, work out together, run steroids together, run SARMs together, et cetera, et cetera. My perspective on this is don't buddy with anybody, whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, your brother, your sister, your friend, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever. Don't buddy with people because everybody is different. You're going to get completely different results and it doesn't help each other. If you're going to train with people, you're going to train with someone and they're going to slow you down, or you're going to slow them down. So training in a group, doing steroids together and all this stuff. Look, I get it. I get the concept. Everybody wants a friend at the gym. You want a buddy at the gym. You want to work out together. But at the end of the day, listen, she needs to be on her program. You need to be on your program. You do your thing. Let her do her thing. Doing this like, let's just both run Anavar. I'm going to run 50 milligram Anavar. She's going to run 10 milligram Anavar. We're going to go to the gym an hour a day together. We're going to commit to it together. It sounds really good on paper, but it never ends up working. Because what ends up happening, I've been there, done that. What ends up happening is you're done with your workout and you're like, shit, I want to get home, cook dinner. I had an 8-hour day at work. I went to the gym with you for an hour. I want to get home, cook dinner, eat, watch some TV, go to bed, and then wake up at 6 o'clock tomorrow for work again. Are you ready to go? No, I'm doing cardio for another 30 minutes. And then you go into the cardio room. She's on the cardio machine doing her little elliptical, yada, yada, yada for 30 minutes. It's like, shit, I want to go home here. There's going to be traffic, blah, blah, blah. Vice versa. You're working out, you're doing your weight training session, you got a good pump going. And she's like, yeah, I want to go. I got other stuff to do. I got to go buy, my dad something for his birthday, blah, blah, blah. I got to go. So listen, you take your car, let her take her car, separate cars. You do your thing, let her do her thing. Same thing with cycling. You're going to run a cycle with her. Halfway through, she's going to have something come up or she doesn't want to finish her cycle or vice versa. You're going to want to change your cycle. So look, it's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. You want to be flexible and you want to do your own thing. I would not recommend doing something like this. And I've had clients come to me, husband, wives, girlfriend, boyfriends who want to do something together like this. They want to get in shape together. Yeah, let's get in shape together. It rarely works. That way. So you both have to just do your own thing when it comes to fitness. She might rather work out before work. You might rather work out after work. She might want to do cardio, the elliptical for an hour while she's watching TV on the screen. You might want to go weight train for an hour. It's different. You guys are different. You're different. Everybody's going to be different. This is a very individual hobby, weight training and steroid use and all this stuff. It's very individual. This isn't football. This isn't soccer. We're not team here. We're not, a team. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very individual thing. And if you want to get the most out of your cycle and your workouts and everything, you need to do your own thing. So that's my opinion. Just think about it. And I get it. Like everyone wants a friend. You want a friend to go to the gym with. it's fine. Go to the gym, socialize, meet friends at the gym, get in a couple sets together on the bench press, spot each other, but don't take it any further than that. You, at the end of the day, like I said, you're going to go much further when you're your own man, you're your own woman, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You've got to do this on your own. This is an individual thing. So whatever motivates you, use that for the gym. All right, buddy. So great show. I'm sure we'll hit this topic again in the future. I think it's a good topic. This was episode number 431. We'll have another Q&A coming your way, 433. Enjoy it. Take care.
Have a good one, Steve. Have a good one, Dad.
Guys, this is the required legal disclaimer. We are only sharing our experience from years of steroid use. We are not doctors, and none of what we say should be regarded as medical advice. Always check with your doctor before taking any drugs or starting any training program.